Hey guys, so for your Tier 2 resource, I have a small group for you. This is a goal setting and motivation small group. It's a really good one. It has a lot of fun activities and a cute outdoor camping theme. So I think you're going to love it. So let's go through it page by page here. Okay, so it's called Goal Climbers, and it kind of has that hiking theme, which is really fun. But first, let's talk about why you would even do a goal-setting small group. So oftentimes our groups are, referral-based, so we're like, oh, we have a lot of anger management referrals. Let's do an anger management small group. But sometimes it's good to do those proactive preventative groups. So especially at the beginning of the school year, you might still be waiting on referrals to trickle in, and you're like, the beginning of the calendar year, January, right? Because that's when we're doing goal setting. You're thinking about New Year's resolutions, things like that. So this is a really good time to be proactive and preventative. It's also memorable. Like I said, with the hiking theme, the kids are going to, resonate with these themes hopefully, and it may, jog their memory instead of just like an abstract smart goal setting activity. And it teaches motivation and accountability in a positive way. So sometimes kids will be, sent to us for, they're not being accountable, they're not turning in their work, they're not motivated to do anything, they're lazy, whatever. It's all very negative. So I like to get ahead of it and teach that in a positive way. So here is what it looks like in action. These are just kind of like a sneak peek of each session here. So like all my groups, you're going to get those weekly outlines. So each week you're going to have an outline with an objective, talking about what the students are going to learn that week, and the ASCA aligned mindsets and behaviors that support the objective. You'll then have like a little summary of what you'll do. So every week we always do group rules and feelings check. In the first and last session, you'll do a self-assessment to collect some data. And then in this group, it's cool because every week you're going to have an intro. So you have like an intro poster because there's a theme for each week, a hiking theme. So you'll have a poster to kind of review a concept, or introduce a concept rather. And then you have an icebreaker that's fun. And then you have the main activity, and then they have a journal to wrap it up. So each week focuses on that. And of course, I've given you a counselor's guide and a table of contents. So the counselor's guide is, I'm telling you two things here about the progress tracker and then the goal setting. So you can have students write down a goal that they want to achieve by the end of the 8 weeks. So something they're working on, and then you can kind of check in each week through their journals. You'll see a spot to do that. So that's kind of cool to talk about, or during feelings check or something, they can talk about it. But that's a cool way for them to set a goal for the 8 weeks while they're learning about goal setting. And then the progress tracker is really cool. I'll get into that in more detail in a moment. Then I have a table of contents just so you can easily find what you need. So first up, group rules and feelings check. So like I said, these you're going to be doing every week. You're going to go over your rules. You can have the students help you write the rules or use the sample ones provided. And then the feelings check, hang up the poster, laminate it, and have the kids share how they're feeling and why. And it's always a good idea to model this. So, today I'm feeling excited because I'm going to my favorite pizza place for dinner. That's true. And data tracking tools, so you can use a pre and post self-assessment to track student progress. So each of these statements is aligned with an objective that they're going to learn. So, the pre-test, we're not expecting anything. It could be all no's, and that's totally fine. You want to remind them there's no right or wrong answer here. But the post one, hopefully there's more yeses, and then we can see their progress. Based on that progress, we can say, the student needs more support, or if everyone put no still, maybe you didn't teach it in your best way possible, and you could revise. And here's that progress tracker. So a progress tracker, like I said, each week has a theme. So for example, week 1's a compass, another week are binoculars, and these all symbolize a concept that they're going to learn and focus on. So each week, you're going to put up one of these like stickers, or you're just going to paste it to the progress tracker, and then the kids can get a visual reminder of how many sessions they have left. So this is the 8-week group. So if they have 4 things stuck up there, then they know they have 4 remaining. So we never want it to be a sneak attack and to say, hey guys, last group. That can be kind of upsetting for some kids because they do better when there's closure and it's really clear what the expectation is for the length of time. And it's also an incentive for them to attend, right? It's kind of fun to be there to see which ones go up, and you're like, I wasn't here last week. I missed the bonfire one. What was that about? So it provides us an attendance incentive and a closure mechanism. So here are those posters I was talking about. These are those weekly posters to introduce the concepts. So for example, the first one's a compass, and it talks about when we go hiking, our compass helps us find the direction we want to go. Like a compass, we need to find where we want to go when we're goal setting too. So what kinds of goals do you want to set? Why do you want to set these goals? So that's kind of an example of the theme. Or like the campfire is talking about fueling the fire, like motivation. Like what's fueling your fire? What's the motivation behind your goal? Why do you want to make that goal? So this is week one. Week one is simply an introduction to goal setting. So there's an icebreaker, that's think, pair, share. So the kids are just going to talk about some goals that they want to set and share their goals with each other. And then there's a little worksheet here that's on short and long-term goals. So you want to, clarify the difference between a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and then have students set true or examples of those. Then I have, for the main activity, there's two things. There's a foldable and then like a cootie catcher, a fortune teller rather. So here is the foldable. So this is where they can identify a personal goal, an academic goal, and a friendship goal. And then this is the fortune teller or cootie catcher, where they're going to make these and then they can quiz each other. What's the short-term academic goal you have? What's the short-term friendship goal you have? So it combines the two concepts of the short and long-term goals plus the categories of different types of goals. Okay, week 2 is all about visualization. So it's about focusing on that future success. So there's a guided meditation that you'll read, a script, and then there's some debriefing questions. So you can put on some music, really do this meditation together. It's all about visualizing the future. And then for the activity, the students are going to draw their future goals. So they're going to draw what it looks like when they reach their goal. So a big thing I like to focus on is we don't want students to focus on like the achieving. It's like chasing a carrot and they feel like they may never get there. Instead, I like for them to imagine that they've already achieved their goal. So if their goal is to win the soccer game or make the soccer team, that's a better one, then they could imagine themselves in a jersey or something like that with their teammates, getting their team picture taken. Or if their goal is to make an A in their class, they can imagine themselves, getting a treat from their parents when they turn in their report card. And then week 3 is all about getting down to the goal setting plan. So again, this is focusing on SMART goals, and it's camp themed, so it's about s'mores. So using the layers of a s'more, students are going to talk about time management, prioritizing, and planning backwards. So you're going to review those 3 things with them. So, funny, the same example, making a soccer team. The time management component would be waking up 30 minutes earlier so they can do some chores before school to have more time to practice later. The prioritizing thing would be that they need to do all these things, but they want to play soccer, so they're going to have to determine what happens first. And then planning backwards, they're going to set a date of when the tryout is, and then what can they do a week before, 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before. And then there's even like an optional s'mores physical craft you can do, or you can make real s'mores. I think that would be really fun. Again, we want to make memories in our groups because the kids will remember, we made s'mores in counseling today. And they'll say, why'd you do that? And they're like, it was awesome. Miss Davis taught us about goal setting. So that's what we're trying to create here, right? So here's an example of planning backwards. They'll get this little map to fill in. They're going to fill in the dates. And then it's like, first they set the goal. They can check out, they wanted their cat to win a pet contest or to enter their cat in pet contest. So they set the goal. They check out a book about cat contest. They groom and train their cat. They save the $20 for the application. So it's identifying all the steps and then breaking them down into a manageable plan. And then finding what motivates you. So this is week 4. We're talking about fueling that fire, remember? So the icebreaker here, these are some discussion cards just to get kids chatting about internal versus external motivation, what they like to work for, what motivates them, things like that. And then they get to survey their classmates or their group mates to see what they would rather have as a reward and to identify some of their favorite things. So this does 2 things. It gets them to think about this, but then it also gives you kind of a clue, like, they're motivated by this. Maybe I can, give that to them when they meet their goal. And you could share that information with their teachers as well. Week 5 is about overcoming those obstacles or boulders that may be in their way as they're working toward meeting their goals. So there's a really fun board game here. And then there's a dice game where they're going to roll the dice and then talk about a time that they had a boulder get in their way, or if they've ever given up, and talk about those obstacles. Week 6 is all about getting the right gear. So this is an analogy for your support system, right? So you want to have the right gear to make your hike successful. You want to have the right support system to make your goal achievable. So the first is an I have, who has game. So if you've never played one of these, they seem kind of tricky, but they're really not. You just pass out the cards to the group members. So there's 8 cards, but if you have less, you could have a card, or kids could have 2. And someone starts, so I have lantern, who has principal, for example. Or let me see which one that's a pair on here. I have canteen. Oh no, these are just those. Okay, this is just showing one set of the cards. But basically, I have lantern, who has principal. And then someone's card will say principal, and then it will link to another accessory. So someone would say, oh, I have the principal card, who has backpack. And then someone will say, I have backpack, who has another family member. So what you're doing here is they're just playing this fun little game. It's like tagging people in. But every time they read a card, they're naming a potential support member. So a principal, family member, counselor, teacher, parents, friend, things like that. Another friend. And then there's a matching game. So this one's just simply a fun visual matching game, like memory. But as students make a pair, they can say someone who is in their support system. In week 7, so now in week 6, they identified potential support system people. So in week 7, they can talk about accountability partners and avoiding procrastination. So this one's kind of a double whammy. The icebreaker is about avoiding procrastination, and it's a scavenger hunt. So you're going to cut up these paper strips, hide them around the room, and then their kids are going to find them, and whoever finds the most wins. And then they review the ones they found. So if I found 3, let's say I found those top 3, watch TV, play a video game, eat a snack, I would read those and say, oh, these are the 3 I found, and these are common procrastination tools. And then you would say if those are your procrastination ones. So I'd say, oh, I have watched TV. That one's not really me. I don't really like TV. Oh, but play video games. I do play a lot of video games. So we're making students aware of potential procrastinators and self-aware of their own. Of course, they can always add ones that we don't have. And then in terms of the accountability partners, they can make this flip book. So they can identify who can be an accountability partner for them, how they procrastinate typically, and how their accountability partner can help them with goal setting. Finally, week 8, planning for the future. So for this one, they're going to make a vision board. So grab some old magazines or newspapers or whatever and have the kids cut out things that they want their future to look like, just their future in general, and encourage them to dream big. So they can put a mansion on there or a yacht or whatever they think is cool, they can put on there. They could put them going to Harvard or I don't know, having like 5 dogs, whatever they think is cool, have them put on there, tell them to dream big, get creative. And then if you don't have any newspapers or anything, you could do this digitally. So you could have them search for some images on the internet and then print, and y'all could cut them out. Paste them on like a poster board with their name on it, and then they can present it to the group. Like, oh, here's my vision, dreaming for the future. Because again, we want to keep it positive and fun and have them thinking that we're teaching them how to do goal setting. Like, let's say they're in our group because they haven't been turning in their homework. Yes, we want them to turn in their homework, so we're going to help them goal set to get their homework done and turn in. But we also want to let them know that this framework applies to bigger visions in life as well. And then there's a dice game just to kind of review the concepts. Each side kind of reflects on a different week. So this one says, have you been using your support system? So, they have already learned what a support system was a couple weeks ago. And remember, they have that goal that they're working on this whole time. So you can talk about that goal as their support system and helping them, all that. And lastly, the weekly journal prompts. So I give you a journal prompt every week for you to have the students complete. For example, this one, week 5, said, what's a boulder that you've come across while working towards your goal? And then each one has a second answer or a second little spot that says, how have you made progress on your goal since last week? So remember, they're setting a goal at the beginning of the group, and then at the end, we're going to see if they made it or not, but each week they can talk about progress. And as they're learning, hopefully it helps them get closer and closer. Okay, guys, I hope you and your kiddos love this goal setting small group as much as I do. I think it's an excellent one to start in January. I think you're going to see good results with it, and I can't wait to hear about them.